Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the November 20th, 1997 meeting of the Cupertino City Council. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Clerk, please conduct the roll call.
Councilmember Dean.
Here.
Sorenson.
Here.
Burnett.
Here.
Chang.
Yes.
Mayor Bautista.
Here. Next portion of the meeting is oral communications, which is reserved for members of the audience wishing to address the council on any matter not on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. In most cases, state law will prohibit the council from making any decisions with respect to a matter not listed on the agenda. Is there anyone who would like to address the council on a matter not on the agenda? That would be a matter not related to outgoing council members or incoming council members. Okay. I'd like to ask the city clerk to canvass the votes with regard to the last election and the resolution relating to that.
The Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors has canvassed the votes for the city of Cupertino. Those figures are attached as an exhibit to resolution number 10,000, and it shows that the 3 individuals who received the most votes were Don Burnett, Sandy James, and John Statton. Measure C, adopting mandatory term limits for council, was also passed by a vote of the people. At this time, I ask that the City Council adopt resolution number 10,000.
Is there no need for discussion on the resolution? Okay. We all understand that that's the resolution then. Is there a motion to approve resolution number 10,000?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Please vote with your lights.
Motion carries unanimously.
The next portion of the meeting is ceremonial presentations for outgoing council members. And this would be an opportunity for members of the council and public, if you would like to make any remarks regarding the outgoing council members. Then we'll go on to the next portion of the meeting, which would be for incoming council members.
You can start with the public first.
Sure. Yeah. Why don't we? Well, Wally, why don't you go ahead?
Oh, thanks. Shoot my mouth off. Thank you, John. I have been extremely pleased working with the caliber of you two. I saw John come up in the planning department when I met Lauralee. It was as a total stranger, and it was one of the nicest events that I've ever encountered at City Hall. She has been always honest, trustworthy, clean slate to bounce different ideas off. I could always rely on an independent opinion. I think that's pretty important. John, I found extremely... His mother's up there, so I've got to be quiet. You know, just innocence, a new talent, a talent on the scene, unabashed ambition, which is good, quick mind, and it was a real pleasure because what we did is we accomplished a lot of things, and I think that's extremely important. And I really have felt honored to serve with both of you. And Lauralee, since she's the senior of the two, I had to think of something in history that you could always savor for the time that you spent here. And this is a spinoff. You can open it if you'd like. And if Martin gets upset, it is when John decided to do split terms. Keep going. And this is a memento of that. You are the first person in the history of Cupertino to obtain this position. And this is a memento of that occasion. It's not a porno picture.
He knows what I'm thinking.
That's the nomination speech to put you in as the first 6-month term vice mayor in the history of Cupertino.
And you made it.
And I salute you, and Don wrote it.
Thank you, Wally.
My pleasure.
And I would add, that was one of my first official actions as mayor.
It was.
Thank you for those remarks, Wally.
Well, Wally said so much so well, but I'd like to add that I've enjoyed working so much with both of you. Fun, John, the youngest member, and I'm the oldest member of the council. And, I think we all worked together well. We had a good 4 years. I think we accomplished a lot. And I think a lot of credit spread around, and an awful lot of it goes to our colleagues who are departing here. Miss Lauralee and Miss John. It's been a pleasure working with them for 4 years.
If I may, I'm going to represent the council. By tradition, the vice mayor gets to present some presents for our departing mayor and vice mayor. So if I may, I'm going to make my remarks over at the podium. For this, I would like to invite our city manager to join us.
Great. Before you do that, Michael, I think Lauralee and I will just make some comments, and then we'll join you down there. And
Do I get to do it first?
go first, Lauralee.
I decided after last Tuesday night, when there was a reception for me, that I would write out a few words tonight. That caught me a little off guard the other night. So just a few words. I've been here for 13 years. Of Monday nights in one of these 5 chairs up here, 5 on the Planning Commission, and then 8 on the council. It is now time for the new decision makers, we're seated down there, and to come forward and for me to go. I leave pleased with what has occurred during my tenure as a council member. And just to highlight a few things that are very memorable to me, the Sports Center was obtained, and now it's in the black. Open space has been preserved. Reserves are very good. 4th of July was reinstated. And that was one of my more difficult votes, was voting to not have the 4th of July and to cancel it when we had 2 years of money where we had less money, where we had to watch what we spent. The many partnerships with other public agencies, and I think I'm the proudest of all of the Youth Probation Officer Program, which is a 5-way partnership. The ice skating rink has stayed at Valco, and as of this week now, hopefully Valco is going to turn around. I hope so. Instituting an economic development committee and the resulting partnership with the Chamber of Commerce. Holding the first diversity summit that was ever held 4 years ago and is now continuing with PDC. Now a brief word about the staff. We are fortunate to have a wonderful staff, workers that are out all night when trees come down, workers taking pride in Cupertino. They are indeed a wonderful group of people. If you see them on the street or you see them in the medians, say hello and give them a wave, because they're good folks out there. And a thank you to those that I have had the most dealings with. Bob, for 13 years. It's been a long time. Bert in Public Works. Now you're just one of my neighbors. And I can come down to you with complaints. Steve in Parks and Rec. Now I'll have to see you at the Cupertino Union School District School Attendance Review Board. And that'll be fun. At least I'll keep in touch. Kimberly, our city clerk, always ready to answer questions on how to fill out those stupid forms that we have to fill out. And I only have one more to do, guys. And Donna, our public information officer, who isn't here tonight, or I don't see her. She's outside. Okay. Maybe she's listening.
Baking cookies.
Donna is really much more, and she always has a good memory of our past events that have occurred in the city. Our newest member, Carol, who's Administrative Services Director. Keep fighting for those reserves and don't let the new council spend it down. Chuck, you're always there with good legal advice for us, and I always appreciated that you were on the other end of the phone. And finally, Don, you always had an open door and an ear to listen to challenges and positives that were happening in the city, and I really appreciated that. And most of all, the TV crew, because you folks downstairs always made us look the best up here. And finally, I want to make the biggest thank you of all to my husband, who's sitting in the back, who would listen to me. He would make me clarify my positions, and he would critique what I was explaining, and who was always there for me. and I have appreciated this through the years. Our sons aren't here tonight because one lives in Southern California and the other one is in the Army in Germany, maybe on his way to Bosnia. I don't know where he is right now. The final thing that I get to do finally on Monday nights is I can stay home and watch Monday Night Football.
That's low.
And then I also get to join my husband's Monday night dinner club that he has instituted because he got pretty lonely on those nights. To the incoming council, you will be leading a really wonderful, wonderful city. Take care of it, and the rewards will be very great for you. And to those council members that remain, I'll miss you, but I will see you around. And to our mayor, the best in the future to you, especially in your new role as dad. And there she is out there in the audience. John, we really made it fun up here. Thank you, one and all, for the great 8 years.
Thank you, Lauralee. Lauralee is always more prepared and eloquent than I am. I, too, want to thank the members of the community and the staff for the fantastic 4 years that we've had. And we've achieved many things beyond my expectations in terms of resolving significant issues in the city, such as the diocese issue, diversity issues, and also building this city for the future. And that is a focus on the economic base of the city, which I think we have made great strides to achieve in the last couple of years through the Apple deal, through shoring up reserves through the water lease, through our efforts in ensuring that Valco Park remains a vital part of the economic base of the city, and through the establishment of the Economic Committee, which is an ongoing committee that meets twice a month between business leaders in the Chamber of Commerce, city staff, and members of the council. And it's a very productive working session that I think is precedential in this city, and I hope will be a tradition that continues. I think that what this council has achieved over the last 4 years is impressive, and I want to thank in particular the staff for providing the glue to keep us together and helping us to achieve these goals and being innovative and creative. A lot of these ideas were begun with staff in off-site retreats and where staff felt confident in the ideas to bring it to council and to help council in setting the policy. And council ran with that and established that policy, and then staff ran back with it and implemented and made it happen. And I think there's true leadership at the staff level, and without our fine staff, we would not be the fine city that we are. And I really, in spending the amount of time that I have with this organization, I feel that we really need to congratulate the staff for the fine work that they've done. I also feel that what makes this council work is the cooperation among council members. And as sort of a parting word of wisdom to the newcoming council members is I think there's a tremendous spirit of cooperation among the council, and I would wish that spirit of cooperation continues among the council members, between council and the community at large, and I have full faith that it will because of the fine people that we've elected to the council. So again, I'd like to thank members of the council. It's been a real pleasure working with you these 4 years. It's been a tremendous learning experience for me. I really feel that I've grown as an individual in this role, and have really enjoyed it. And it was a difficult decision for me to make, to decide not to run again. But as Lauralee pointed out, I've got other priorities, and I'm really looking forward to my role as dad. So I think I would like to actually introduce my wife, Marilyn, and our daughter, Wilhelmina. And and my mom's sitting right next to them, and she's a grandmother for the first time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John, for those fine words and words of wisdom. And Lauralee, the same. It's with sadness that I would, stand here to say goodbye for now on the council. But in the community, there will be many, many opportunities for us to work together again. So if I may, I would like to ask our mayor, John Bautista, to come up. And as is tradition, to give him, on behalf of a city, something that he has worked really hard for, and this is the gavel. This is for him to remember all those nights that he spent here away from Maryland and away from a baby, but doing very good things for the city. So, John,
Thank you, Michael.
congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Item that I want to give to John, and this I think is very appropriate. If you can guess what is in here, well, we'll let you open it.
It's for Floyd Meyer.
This is a clock, and I think for us who know John, why are you laughing? It's the sense of timing. Timing is everything, and John has timing. And whether it be on the council, moving the items, or elsewhere, his timing is impeccable. So,
Thank you, Michael.
thank you so much, John. I just want to, on a more personal note, really just say how much I do appreciate working with John. This last year when he was mayor, just seeing him work through the agendas, getting all the council members to think together, work hard together, and decide things together collectively for the good of the city was a real eye-opener. And I think that he was well trained. As we all know, John is a local boy. He went to Monte Vista, and that's where he got all his training. And even Harvard helped a little bit, but it was mostly Monte Vista. And so I would want to say to John that I really do admire your capabilities and your strengths. When you're ready to run for governor, please call on us.
I'd like to just add something about John from the staff's perspective. When I think about the last 4 years with John, it's been a real pleasure, and we've enjoyed it. Excellent leadership, and we've enjoyed this last year with you as mayor. There's two things that really stand out. One is your keen fiscal analysis, and I think you've improved greatly by sort of asking us the hard questions and asking Carol the hard questions, the clarity of our financial reporting, and really the way that people view our finances, and I think it's added a lot to the community. Second one, and I think the fruit for this labor is coming due now, is economic development. John took a strong leadership role on the Economic Development Committee. He personally devoted his time and expertise to the Valco review and the Apple tax agreement. And as I think many of you know, within the last 2 days, Macy's has announced they're going to open a department store, a full-fledged department store at Valco Fashion Park. And John, your labors have finally paid off, so good job. Thank you. Thanks, John.
Next, I'd like to call up our senior council member, which we will miss dearly, Lauralee Sorenson.
Goodbye, sweet princess.
Lauralee, I'd like to, on behalf of the city, give you this present. I think it is a hint of things to come, and we hope that you will enjoy it.
I don't even need to open it. That's what the box says. Oh, it's two lovely, lovely Waterford flutes. And it says they're from the Millennium Collection, A Toast to the Year 2000. First, happiness. Second, love. Third, health. Fourth, prosperity. And fifth, peace. That's very nice.
I also want to add in a personal word about Lauralee. As the senior council member, I have learned tremendously from Lauralee. I could not think of a finer person on council, a person that is more compassionate, more caring about different groups of people, including especially the ones that are less fortunate in our society. Lauralee is a role model. She always votes on the way she feels about issue, and all those issues come deeply from her heart. Lauralee, I know that you had been engaged in community leadership before you came on council, and I hope that you will again take up community leadership again after you leave the council. Thank you very much, Lauralee.
I think I just heard her mouth the words no. Someone is telling her to learn to say no. No, you're not going to learn that easy. Lauralee, again, on behalf of the staff, I was sitting in my office today sort of thinking back on the years, the 8 years that we've shared together. And it's been a wonderful time. I wouldn't have been anyplace else, I guarantee you. And I was jotted down some of the thoughts that I had, and some you have mentioned. And I'll just go through them quickly just to remind people what Lauralee Sorenson has meant to this community. Parks and open space, as you said, it started with the sports center, it continued with the school playing fields renovation, and is concluding this year with Creekside Park. So we expect you to be there at the grand opening. Economic Development Committee, again, you have been one of the people that said, let's get this thing together and make it work, and with your guidance and leadership, I think we have. You coordinated the first diversity conference and got us going in the right direction. Youth diversion programs, I mean, you were the staunch ally all the way through, and those have proven to be great programs for the city. Youth probation officers, school resource officers, and all outstanding people that you know as well. Emergency Medical Committee and on the county, and also teaching first aid and CPR right here in our community, and I expect you'll continue doing that. A lot of our employees have had that. The Audit Committee, again, improve financial reporting under your tutelage and guidance and asking the right questions. I think the Toyokawa Sister City liaison that you provided kept that organization moving along. And finally, you have been, in my opinion, the consummate professional in dealings with city staff and everybody that's been in this room before you, whether it's a position that you agreed with or not, you always dealt with them very professionally. So thank you very much for that.
The next part of the agenda is the oath of office for council members. We have 3 new council members coming on.
Yes, may I please have Don Burnett, Sandy James, and John Statton join me up here by the podium? read the oath to you. If you please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the state of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and of the state of California, that you take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which you are about to enter for the city of Cupertino?
I swear.
Thank you. Congratulations. Welcome back.
Whoops. She wants to go back then. Welcome.
I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome back Don Burnett and also welcome, a very hearty welcome to our new council members, John Statton and Sandra James. Each one of them have brought many important qualities to our council. Don Burnett have done so much here, and as mayor have also worked very hard on the council. And then John Statton is a known quality in our community, a leader that has worked very well in the community. And then so it's the same with Sandra James, which we worked before on the school board. So again, a very warm welcome to all of you. The next part of the agenda is the election of mayor and vice mayor. I would now open nominations for mayor.
I'd like to nominate Dr. Michael Chang.
Second?
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Can we have a vote? All in favor?
Lights or hands?
Yes. Please, I gotta learn this from John. All in favor, please press the button. I haven't got the words down yet, but you get the idea, which is the important thing.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, thank you very much. I now open nominations for vice mayor.
I'd like to nominate Wally Dean for vice mayor.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please vote with your lights.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, thank you very much. The next part of this is the oaths of office for mayor and vice mayor.
Yes. Mayor Chang, would you please come to the podium? Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States and of the state of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and of the state of California, that you take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which you are about to enter for the city of Cupertino as its mayor?
I swear.
Congratulations. And now the oath of office for our vice mayor. Anyone you want. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States and of the state of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and of the state of California, that you take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which you are about to enter for the city of Cupertino as its vice mayor?
I swear.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Okay, the next part of our agenda, we're coming to a close. Some comments by council members. So why don't we start with our new council member? Right.
I just want to say I'm very grateful to be sitting here. A lot of people that I feel a great deal about really helped me get me to this position, and I'm very grateful for that. And outside of that, just play ball. We're going to have fun.
Thank you very much, John. Me?
That we did this. I am pleased to see the selection generated from the community. I think you are upfront people. I'm anxious to work with you as a team. Your qualifications are far superior than anything I've ever done, so it should be good. Welcome.
Don?
Well, I'm glad to be back, and it's been a pleasure in the 4 years. I think we have a city government here where we have a whole that's greater than the sum of the parts, which is a wonderful thing when people build on their strengths, rather than in a lot of situations where you have a lot of acrimony and feuding that goes on. And I think it's shown in the accomplishments we've had in the past 4 years. A lot of them have been mentioned. One that I'm particularly happy is the fact that we have taken our planning for our future growth and put some restraint on it, put some what I think are very reasonable and logical limits so people can see where we're going and we understand it. And after 4 years of that, I was happy to see that we had unanimous support for removing the tier system growth and reducing building sizes for industrial buildings, both on the Planning Commission and the Council. I was really happy to see that. Looking forward to the next 4 years, I think one of my primary concerns, a number of things have been mentioned, but I would like to see our streets become safer. I'd like to see people feel more comfortable walking about in the community, and I hope there's some things we can do to make that happen in the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Don. Sandy?
Thank you. I had hoped to have an opportunity as the last official job as president of the Cupertino School District to say thank you to Lauralee and to John on behalf of the school district, so I'm going to do that as kind of an incoming council member also. But representing the Cupertino School District, we have had many, many years of good partnerships, many of which Don delineated earlier, with the fields, renovation of the fields, and our partnerships with law enforcement. And anytime we called either John or Lauralee, they were there quickly to work with us, compassionately and professionally, always represented this city extremely well. And I would like to thank you on behalf of all of the students and employees in that school district. I feel very honored to be here. Fortunately, I've worked with all these people before, and so it's kind of nice to know the way they work and to have an association already established of mutual respect. I fortunately have worked with all the staff before and admire them, and so I'm very much looking forward to representing this community, many of you who were seated here, many of you who are watching on TV, so that we can continue to maintain the quality of life that we have in this city. We're very lucky here. And to help to make the kinds of decisions that I think will move us forward in the areas we hope to have some additional growth and movement in that direction. So I'm looking forward, as Wally said, to get to work and to make some good things happen.
Okay, thank you very much, Sandy. I just want to thank the council, first of all, for electing me mayor. It's an important duty, and I think there's a lot of responsibilities involved, and I will definitely do my best in that role. I also want to thank the staff because I could not think of a better staff anywhere, public or private, to work with in our city. And in my 2 years here, it has really, truly been a pleasure working with the staff from the city manager down onwards. And thirdly, I want to really thank my family and for my friends who have always supported me. Actually, I would like to take the opportunity to introduce members of my family. First of all, I'm going to introduce my mother, Mrs. Betty Chang. Mom drove all the way from San Francisco just to see what I'm up to. And then my wife and my partner and my friend. Two wonderful children for whom I'm always grateful to, Jonathan and Jackie Chang. All the wonderful friends and supporters I have, thank you so much. It really it means a lot for me that you are here. In the upcoming years, I think we will have continue to have challenges to make Cupertino the kind of place that we want it to be. And here I merely share some ideas with you. 3 areas that I could particularly think of. First area is with the area of youth. Cupertino, in its phases as a city, has gone through many different phases. At one point with the baby boom, we all had over 40 schools in the school district. And since that time, the number of young people in our community went down. And in these last 10 years, it has increased again. I think it is very important that our city council work with our school districts to help grow our young people. As the African proverb that said, it takes a whole village to raise the child. And we have been embarking on this direction in the last few years. And with the addition in particular of my colleague, Sandra James, I'm sure that we will work even further in this direction. And here, last year when John was sitting here, he mentioned about the need to look at our library. It's very congested, as people can see whenever they go to, but that's a very good problem to have. And this year, I think, will be the year when we will work hard and appoint a library building committee to look into the expansion or the development of a new library that will be a community center also for our city. We may also explore other possibilities of engaging our young people in our city even more. Perhaps the idea of a youth commission might be something to think about. Perhaps even the idea of a youth center. People that we have talked to a lot of times mention that there aren't places for young people to go to. But at any rate, those are things that we might take a look at in this council. The second thing has already been mentioned before, and which is the revitalization of Valco. John has worked very hard on that, and so has Lauralee. And I think we have reached a turning point in Valco. The other day I saw a merchant, a small business merchant from Valco, and she was saying it's hard to hold on there, and so said hold on just a little bit more because we're going to turn it around. I believe that this year there will be many opportunities to look into Valco truthfully and then be able to turn it around. I think that there are opportunities in Valco not only to develop it into the kind of thriving business center in our city, so well deserved, that there are opportunities to again look at Valco in its role as a community center for our city. And with that, we need to be very vigilant about both providing vision as well as imagination to do that. And in that role, I would particularly be looking forward to working with the Economic Development Committee in our city, as well as with the Chamber of Commerce. And the third part is something that we've been doing all along that we want to emphasize. I think in this campaign season, many candidates emphasize the same thing. We all talk about the same thing and we do the same thing, which is the community together, promoting togetherness in this community. I think that we all here believe that everyone in our community have an obligation to make our community better and to make our community work even better. And there are many, many initiatives in this area that we have embarked on. We have continued to provide opportunities to give residents different ways to come together and get to know each other and work on worthwhile community projects. One can think about the revival of the July 4th fireworks at De Anza College. One can think about the emergency preparedness training that we have been pursuing for a number of years in our city. One can think about the public dialogue initiatives that we've had for over a year in the city and how that has brought many, many fruition and to continue. One could think of how our city is again looking into training our own leaders for the future in Leadership Cupertino. One could think about the multicultural celebration that we have for the city. One could think about the neighborhood togetherness programs that we would like to introduce in our city, making perhaps a week or a month a neighborhoods week, where we actively encourage neighbors to reach out to each other, to get to know each other, and to do that, we've even made having block parties a lot easier. So, and finally, I echo what Councilman Don Burnett said. Our community is an extremely safe one. We have the Sheriff Department to thank for that, but we want to keep it safe. We want to be vigilant about safety, and we want to keep graffiti off our streets and of our city. Finally, if Rancho Recanada, Garden Gate, or Monte Vista residents decides that they do want to be annexed by our city, I think what we need to do is to welcome them and promote this neighborliness to them too. So those are just some thoughts that I have at this point. I think there will be an opportunity in January when in our goal-setting session, when the council meet together to talk about some of these initiatives as well as other initiatives. And I will be back to present a full report to the community at the State of the City address on January 27th. I just want to end to say that on a more personal note, what this position means to me. As you know, that I do feel like as the first Asian American to be elected to this position, there is a particular desire and a gratefulness that this is what America is made of, that this is a place which is so special. And I have to hold myself in telling people that sometimes we forget what a special place, community, and country that we have, that someone can be elected to have the privilege of serving their community. And so it is like an American dream come true, and I do pledge to work hard with our council members to serve our city well. Thank you very much. Are there other items that we need to deal with? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn to a reception?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Reception time.
Hold on.